Of five, Jennifer Dulos disappeared in May of 2019. She is now presumed dead. Her estranged husband was charged with murder. He took his own life before a verdict in his case, but his girlfriend, Michelle Troconis, facing multiple charges in connection with the case. Her trial gets underway this week, and here to talk about the charges she is facing and the trial ahead is attorney Ray Hassett. Ray is with the law firm Hassett and George, a former member of the U.S. Attorney's Office, more than 35 years experience in focusing on criminal law. Ray, thank you for being here today.
Good morning, Keith.
As this goes to trial this week, a lot of attention, obviously, on this case. Troconis charged with conspiracy to commit murder. For somebody who's watching at home, what do you make of that? What does that charge entail?
So she's actually been charged with a number of different felonies. One is hindering prosecution. The other is conspiracy to falsify or tamper with evidence. But the most serious, as you've indicated, is the conspiracy to commit murder. Now, that doesn't mean that she committed the murder. It means that she did some objective act to furtherance of the conspiracy itself. So in this case, that the state would have to prove is that she's done something to effectively assist Mr. Dulos in what they believe to be his murder of Jennifer. And so the facts aren't completely the same as the facts in a murder case, but it's a conspiracy to do something in which led to the murder or was part of the murder itself. Obviously, the big issue is going to be there is no body. So there's going to be a question that's going to be raised by the defense as to whether, in fact, there actually was a murder, how it was done, how it was performed. Those facts the state's going to have to establish beyond a reasonable doubt did occur so that the conspiracy charge will, in fact, apply to Ms. Troconis.
How strong do you think these charges are? How strong of a case do you think the state has?
So the state has a case that's based on circumstantial evidence. Most cases like this are circumstantial. Circumstantial evidence is not I saw it or I heard it or I was there, I have a video. It's, for example, we had a snowstorm and in the backyard in the snow, if you look out one morning and you see footprints across the snow, then you're going to see, well, wait a minute, someone was in my backyard walking. You can surmise through circumstantial evidence that something happened. It's a reasonable conclusion. In this case, the state is going to have to present all the circumstantial evidence they have. They have a multitude of inconsistent statements from Ms. Troconis. She gave 3 different interviews, inconsistencies in each of those. She also was not clear with some of the statements that she gave, and she actually recanted some of the information that she gave. Now, the complication becomes English is not her native language, and as a result, did she understand, did she comprehend? I think the defense will jump on that to indicate that there may have been a lack of clarity in some of the questioning, and she may have answered the questions without clearly understanding what she was saying. And of course, the circumstantial evidence is going to lead further than that.
And speaking of her defense, you know this defense team that is representing her. Tell us a little bit about them. What do you anticipate?
Sure, I've had cases with the 2 primary people that are on the defense team. They're very good, well-respected defense attorneys. They have very good reputations. I think they're very passionate about their cases. I think they'll do a wonderful job in presenting the evidence on behalf of their client, Ms. Troconis. However, there is considerable evidence that the state police compiled, and they did an extensive review of videos from the Merritt Parkway to bus videos to try to put a timeline together. And the timeline's pretty compelling when you look at it, especially when you take into consideration some of the statements, for example, statements from Ms. Troconis and one of the attorneys that was involved in the case as well.
So what is her best defense?
Her best defense, I think, well, first of all, remember, she doesn't have to get up and testify, so we don't know whether we'll hear from her or not. The chances are you will probably not. If I was to guess, you're not going to hear from her at trial. That's her constitutional right. I think her best defense is to say circumstantially there's no indication that she was actually present or involved in the actual murder. And of course, we know Mr. Dulos was an overbearing person. What effect did that have on her? Was she complicit in doing or saying things at his direction, his insistence? So the question really becomes, did she have the mental capacity, what we call the mens rea, the specific intent to participate in some of these crimes?
We talked about the intense public interest in this story. It went on to become a movie. I anticipate a lot of folks out there later this week when I am there to cover the trial. Speak to me about a timeline here. We already have seen this delayed as a result to issues with the jury. Could this go on for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a month, longer?
So Judge Kevin Randall is running the case. He's going to run it very precisely and in accordance with instructions that he's been given from the judicial branch, and that is once a jury trial of this nature starts, you finish it. And obviously there'll be weather considerations, there may be illnesses of jurors and things of that nature that can interfere, but I presume that this is going to go straight through until it's concluded. The estimate that I've heard is somewhere in March, so it's not going to be a short trial. There's a lot of testimony. There's going to be forensic testimony. There's going to be eyewitness testimony, video testimony. I will say that the state police did a very thorough investigation in this case, and it's going to be part of the defense's objective is to poke holes in that to show how it's, in fact, the conclusions that they've reached are not accurate.